In a revealing twist on what the royal household really felt about Harry and Meghan's engagement, whispers suggest the late Queen held big dreams for the pair, while Prince Philip stayed on guard, even coining a quirky nickname for the American star. Under a sky twinkling with electric candlelight and surrounded by soft white blossoms, Prince Harry got down on one knee at Nottingham Cottage's secluded garden in Kensington Palace back in November 2017. The scene, with its gentle hum of nature and the delicate aroma of flowers, set the stage for a moment that felt both intimate and surreal. "I wished it could have happened sooner," Harry confided in a 2022 streaming documentary about their journey. "I had to seek my grandmother's blessing, and that kept me from doing it anywhere but here in the UK." His tone carried a mix of excitement and the weight of tradition. After a long day of filming at Sandringham, Harry found the courage to ask Queen Elizabeth for her blessing to take Meghan's hand in marriage. In that quiet moment, the air was thick with anticipation and the echoes of family legacy. Royal biographer Ingrid Seward later recalled how, away from the watchful eyes of Charles and Prince Philip, Harry chose a windswept Norfolk field to approach his grandmother. The landscape, raw and untamed, became the unlikely setting for a heartfelt plea to marry Meghan. Seward painted a picture of the Queen, busy with her Labradors and tending to a few fallen birds after a brisk drive, completely alone without any guards in sight. Harry recognized that rare, unguarded moment as his only chance to reach her heart directly. Her response was as elusive as ever, a gentle, "Well, then, I suppose I have to say yes," yet behind that soft acceptance lay a deep fondness for Meghan. It was clear that despite the formalities of court, the Queen had grown quite attached to her new granddaughter-in-law. Their first meeting had been over a simple tea at Royal Lodge in Windsor, where the Queen's eyes lit up at the thought of her grandson finding a love that could match his fiery passion. In that warm moment of conversation, she had sensed that Meghan was someone special. One of the Queen's closest friends, Lady Elizabeth, later shared that the monarch had high hopes for what Meghan and Harry might achieve together, particularly for the young people across the Commonwealth. It was a vision filled with promise and new beginnings. Such was the faith the Queen placed in Meghan that, even when Prince Philip voiced his doubts, she kept backing her. Seward noted that Philip was among the few who couldn't shake off his wariness about Meghan. He even remarked on how strangely Meghan's style and spirit brought to mind Wallis Simpson, the American socialite whose romance with King Edward VIII reshaped history. In a playful yet pointed nod to history, Harry's own nickname for Meghan echoed that past, calling her Dow after Wallis, the Duchess of Windsor. The story of Wallis, who tied the knot with King Edward at Château de Cande in France on June 3, 1937, is filled with twists. She broke royal norms by choosing a soft pale blue for her wedding day instead of the expected white, adding her own dash of rebellion. In contrast, Meghan, who had once been married to Hollywood producer Trevor Engelson between 2011 and 2013, opted for a pristine white gown designed by Givenchy under the watchful eye of their first female creative director, Claire Wade Keller. The dress, with its flowing fabric and gentle long sleeves, whispered of classic elegance and modern taste. Yet, not all in the palace were fans of this choice. The Queen, usually reserved in sharing her thoughts, made it clear in hushed conversations with her closest confidants that Meghan's wedding dress was not to her liking. Lady Elizabeth recalled telling royal author Seward that the only comment the Queen made about the wedding was that the Givenchy gown was too white. In the monarch's eyes, the look of a divorcee remarrying in a church should not seem overly pristine or showy. There was also discontent about Meghan's decision to wear a veil. Royal author Tom Bower mentioned that the Queen questioned the need for a veil at a second wedding, hinting that it might be a bit out of place. Despite these reservations, Meghan made a bold statement by wearing a 16-foot veil at the grand service in the historic St. George's Chapel at Windsor Castle. The veil, decorated with lace that depicted plants from every one of the 53 Commonwealth nations, was a dazzling mix of heritage and style. Meanwhile, Queen Camilla, recalling her own wedding to Charles in 2005 after a past marriage with Andrew Parker Bowles, chose to forego a veil, staying true to tradition. Not all the royals were in perfect harmony about the nuptials. Prince William, for instance, had his own set of concerns about the whirlwind wedding plans. Royal expert Tina Brown, who once shared close moments with Princess Diana, revealed that William's doubts stood out among the family. In her book, The Palace Papers, Inside the House of Windsor, Brown spoke of conversations with 120 insiders, noting that while most of the family, Charles and the Queen included, appeared to warm up to Meghan, it was William who was most anxious about the whole affair. Brown recalled William saying that he knew Harry too well and worried he was stepping into stormy weather. Every time Harry fell head over heels, it was like a mini eruption, she noted, his words laced with both humor and genuine concern. In one memorable exchange, William teased, "You do realize this is the fourth girl you've taken to Botswana," after hearing Harry's dreamy recount of a trip. The remark hung in the air like a mix of brotherly banter and genuine fear for what might come next. William also fretted that Meghan might struggle to build a new life in the UK and forge fresh friendships. This worry echoed in Harry's own revealing memoir, Spare, where he recalled William's cautionary words about the fast pace of his new romance. In a quiet garden conversation, William had laid out a series of hurdles he expected if Harry were to pursue a relationship with an American actress, a phrase he often used in a tone that made it sound like a crime. "Are you sure about her, Harold?" he'd ask, leaving a lingering pause that was hard to ignore. Harry's simple reply, "I am, Willie," was filled with both defiance and love as he struggled with the inevitable challenges ahead. "What do you want me to do? Just fall out of love with her?" he'd retort, the air charged with a mix of humor and heartfelt frustration. Historian Robert Lacey, in his work Battle of the Brothers, noted that William even called on Princess Diana's brother, Earl Charles Spencer, in a desperate bid to slow down Harry's swift romance. William couldn't understand how Harry could think of marrying someone so unknown after such a short time, Lacey wrote, adding layers to the sibling tension. The intervention, however, only fueled further clashes. Though Harry understood the worry behind the gesture and never held a grudge against his uncle, who had once walked with them during the sorrowful farewell to Diana, the conversation left a bitter taste. Adding to the mix, Harry's longtime friend Tom "Skippy" Inskip, whom he met at Eton, also warned him against rushing into marriage with Meghan. According to the Sussex-friendly book Finding Freedom, Skippy felt that the rapid pace of the relationship might lead to unforeseen problems. He even suggested that Harry and Meghan try living together first to see if the spark could last. A trusted source close to the Sussexes mentioned that although Skippy's advice came with good intentions, Harry didn't fully appreciate the caution. In hushed voices, other friends even muttered that Harry was being a bit reckless, especially after Meghan had chided them over jokes about transgender issues and feminism during a shooting weekend back in November 2016. Despite the chorus of warnings from friends and family alike, Harry pressed on with his decision. In November 2018, just over a year after they first met, he proposed to Meghan, defying the skeptics and the looming doubts. In an honest interview with a well-known broadcaster, Harry recalled that the rush of falling in love with Meghan felt like the universe was sending a clear sign. "Everything, all the stars, were perfectly aligned," he said, his voice soft yet determined. "It was as if this incredible woman just tumbled into my life, and I couldn't help but follow." What will the future hold for a love that defied all expectations, weaving together tradition, rebellion, and the raw pulse of destiny? Stay tuned, because this story is far from over.